So, man, guys, listen, I've got a guy that is like family to me. He's an athlete. He's about to be a pro athlete, a Montreal native, right?
Yes, sir.
Divisional, ex-Division One player. But now he's Showtime, man. That's what life's all about. He's great to have you in the house, man. Like, you're ready to have wrong word in the house. You know, I love being around you. I really love it. Your energy is so chill. It makes my energy chill.
I mean, when we're two people that know each other that have like a rapport, a relationship, like it's natural.
Right.
Yeah.
See, with us, the way I want this podcast to go is a little different than usual. I want it to be casual.
Yep.
I just want to really have people know a little bit more about you, right? Because your story is an interesting story. Like you see an athlete like yourself, and another young athlete might see you and say, "Hey, now he was just born with height, is genetically gifted, and so everything came easy to him." But of course, we have a relationship. I've known you years. Wait a second. You've always been taller than me. What am I talking about? You've always been here.
At a young age, first of all.
So I've known you for years.
Yep.
And I've known that there is the person behind the athlete. That's who I really want to know,
Yep.
right? But before we go there, let's touch where you're going right now.
Yep.
So Montreal native, ex-Division One player right in Montreal, and now you're going pro.
Yep.
Now you're going pro.
Yes, man.
Let's go there and we'll work backwards.
Okay, cool.
So tell me about that, man.
So yeah, man. Kind of give you a long story short. So I was, like you said, ex-Division One, played a bit Division Two as well at Simon Fraser University after I was at University of Vermont, and did my college career at McGill here in Montreal, so in U Sports. And after my season, I had the opportunity to go to this kind of like showcase, a pro showcase of like guys that were finishing up their college career.
Right.
I was in Toronto. Shout out Coach Kevin, who invited me out there. Kevin Barnes. He's the one that runs the event and stuff, and I was able to perform well at that weekend and get in contact with an agent who was actually based out there in Portugal, and the situation was able to unfold.
Say, I want to talk about that more, but that's, like I said, that's the destination in which you're at right now.
Exactly.
I will get right back into it. What inspired you to play basketball?
I mean, besides the height,
Besides the height, what inspired you? I used to be a trainer. I ain't your mindset coach still, but you've always been a strong athlete. Really, you could have played any sport you wanted to play, but basketball was your calling. If anybody was to see you, they would assume basketball is it for you.
Yeah.
But was that it? Was it really that you look like a basketball player, so you have to become a basketball player?
Not necessarily. I actually started doing karate before I played basketball.
Karate.
Well, that's where I got a lot of my coordination from, because I had a growth spurt when I was, I want to say between 10 and 12 is when I really shot up. And around that time, I was still doing karate, and it helped a lot with my coordination. I feel like, especially at a younger age, at my size, I had an advantage on the guys that were my size because I was a bit more coordinated. I was more athletic, more like within my own body, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how it all started. But I was more drawn to basketball because of the sport itself, the jumping, the running. Like, I was always athletic. Something about it just drew me. Playing a bunch of sports, my parents, obviously, they didn't really push me towards basketball. Neither of them played basketball.
Right. So neither of them play basketball.
No.
I know your dad's tall.
Yeah.
He plays soccer. You're right.
My dad's a soccer player. Exactly.
And your mother never played any sports?
No, I mean, she did. She used to run.
Right.
I don't know if she ran like competitively, but
Yeah.
I remember a couple of years ago, me and my mom like raced outside. But she still kind of has it.
I bet you anything, and I'm sure most mothers would say the same thing. She believes that you got all the athletic gifts from her.
She probably would say, prefer. Yeah.
So tell me this. So the fact that you did karate and basketball was in the mix, did you feel like being a dual sport athlete helped you out, or was that a hindrance? Did you feel like you needed to focus on one sport to get better at it, or you feel like you got something from karate that complemented basketball?
Exactly. At that time too, I was doing both, but the more I kind of got older and the more serious basketball kind of became, I had to choose one. I couldn't.
At what age was that?
Probably around like 12, around 12 years old. Around 12 years old is when I decided to take basketball like 1,000% serious. Like, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm dialed in, the whole deal.
So did the basketball organization force you, or the setup, the way the basketball is set up, did that force you to choose? Or you felt like, all right, at this point, I want to focus on basketball?
Yeah, it was more of that. It was much more of, okay, if I want to make a commitment to the sport, then I would have to give the majority of my time to the sport, you know? So karate couldn't really, there wasn't really any much more space for karate.
Well, you do believe that being able to play, was that the only sport you played back? The only sport you did outside of
Competitively, like, you know, played for fun, soccer with my friends, football, like you name it.
Yeah.
But really competitively, at first was karate. From a young age, and then after that, since then, it's been
What did you get from karate?
a lot of more mental things than physical things. You know, really how to control your body, control yourself, reserve your energy,
Right.
harness your energy into the right things. And I think that it definitely helped me, especially at a young age.
You know what's interesting is that even though I've known you for so long and worked with you for so many years, the reason I was so excited about doing this podcast with you was for that very reason. Your mindset has always been strong, right? But strong does not mean that you're perfect, or you have a perfect mind,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I want to go into that space a little bit. I really don't dive into that space with most.
Let's dive into it. We're here.
But I know you're deep.
Yeah. Let's dive in.
You are a deep guy. So what is it that gets you up every morning to stay consistent? Like, what would you say gets you to get up and do the work that you need to do to keep producing the way that you have?
Yeah. I mean, I will say for me, these past, I want to say like the past year, honestly, especially this summer, I feel like it's just been the joy of it, honestly. Like that's all I can really think of for me at this point where I'm headed, you know, like you said, it's about to be my first year pro. A lot of unknown, a lot of things that I don't know what to expect when going out there, but like just the love of just progress, getting better, the grind of it all. You know what I mean? That's really for me this summer, especially like, because, you know, especially during the time where I was talking to my agent, you know, is it gonna work out, this and that? There's like a lot of things to think about.
That's right.
But now that the situation has kind of been locked in for a minute, it's just been really just the joy of just attacking it every day.
So you mentioned joy. Define joy. Like, what does joy mean?
That's another deep one. What I would buy like that where we're at. Yeah, that is where we're at. I mean, listen, like the way I would define joy, man, just doing it because you want to do it. I think that's really, it really sums it up. It really gets to the bottom of the definition for me, at least. Just doing it because, like, you know what, I want to do this. I enjoy doing this.
See, that takes me into something interesting though, because a lot of kids, when they first start, it's because they want to do it, right? And then they become good at it.
Yeah.
And then the parents get into it. Now it's not because the parents want them to do it.
Yeah.
Right? You see where I'm going with that?
Absolutely.
So at some point, where do you lose the excitement of doing it because you want to do it? And then it now becomes, my parents want me to do it, so I gotta do good for them. Because that's an added pressure that a lot of kids are not prepared for. Did you ever have that?
No, and I'm thankful. I'm really thankful. I like what you brought up because, you know, I've seen situations like firsthand, close friends that were doing a sport. Maybe the parent did the sport. They became very proficient in the sport. And honestly, at one point they just decided, you know, this isn't for me. I don't have that drive anymore. And they kind of let it go. And, you know, for a second you think, oh, you're so good at it, why would you stop? But it's like, if you don't feel it anymore, then does it really fulfill you, even if you do have success, you know? So
do I think a parent can kill the passion that a kid has for sport?
I think more than just a parent, though, not just the parent. You know, it could be a situation, like maybe you aren't in a situation that you feel is like good for you and where you want to be in your career. Maybe you have a bad relationship with people, whether it's in high school or on your team, or whether maybe you just lose love for it all together. So I think there's different things that could take that joy out. You know what I mean?
It could be a bad relationship with a coach.
Yeah.
Well, it could be having a series of bad performances that discourages you, right? But should all those things take you away from your dream? Let me say I'm going with that. Like, at some point, there's always going to be a challenge. There's always going to be somebody else that's going to want to steal that from you, not even intentionally. Just by their actions, they could steal you from what you're supposed to be going after.
Yeah.
But isn't it you that's responsible for that?
I mean, I think there's kind of this gray area where it's like, I think the challenge will push you to see how much you really love it. You know what I mean? I think if it drives you to a point where you're like, you know what, this might not even be worth it to me anymore, and you feel content with who you are and that decision, then maybe it's not for you. But I feel like if you really do enjoy it and you really let it point, you know what I'm saying? Let those challenges kind of test where you're at, you know what? So got knocked down, I'm gonna keep going, then you know, okay. And especially when things start becoming more positive for you, like afterwards, and you kind of remember those days, right? Like, okay, you know what? I'm glad I stuck with it.
You know what it is, right? Some, challenges, some people break barriers to challenges, and some people are broken by the challenges, right? Have you found yourself in a situation where, in all honesty, if we want to be candid here, where you've almost been broken by the situation?
You know, I think that going into college during the pandemic for me was strange. I wouldn't go to the point where I was to say it almost broke me, but it definitely wasn't like the best situation. You know what I mean? Like it was a weird time. We weren't really practicing that much. It just wasn't what life was regularly. And I think that the pandemic happening at such a transitional phase in my life, going from high school to college, not even here, like I'm in the States, like a lot of it was uncomfortable. It was tough, but you know, I'm glad I stuck with it.
Yeah.
Sure.
But where did you get the strength to stick with it? You mentioned that pandemic era because that threw a lot of people off. There are victims from that pandemic right now.
Yeah.
When I say victims, I'm talking about victimized by the situation. They've lost the passion, the drive, the want to even do what they love so much. Where did that strength come from, that courage to overcome all of that situation?
Yeah.
Where did you get that? I know everybody's different, but where did you draw your strength from?
Me being honest, personally, it was like my teammates and my brothers that I was going through it with, you know, we're all going through the same struggle. And at a certain point, it's just like, you know, we might as well just keep going, see where the tunnel takes us, you know, like we're here. And obviously I know that there's a lot of people who during the pandemic maybe have like decided to switch career paths and different things. So like to whoever did that, to each their own, obviously. But for me, it was much more of a, you know, like, well, here we're in it together. Let's just stick with it. See what's on the other side of the tunnel.
Amazing. You know what I like though is that, again, I have the benefit of having some insight into your life, right? During that tough time, we spoke during the pandemic, or we had a virtual after we spoke.
Absolutely.
You have an incredible support system.
1000%.
And when I say incredible support system, incredible, it's the relationships that you have around you. Not just your mother and your father, your peers around you. They're like ride or die for you. Like you guys kind of hold each other up. Can you just touch on that a little bit, like having the right people around you? I mean, you can also have a whole lot of people that are the wrong people for you. But I remember looking into your circle and going, wow, this guy is fortified by positivity, right?
Yeah.
Touch on that a little bit, the importance of those relationships that are out at that time.
1000%. I think it's very important for you to surround yourself with people who understand like the same struggle that you're going through, regardless of what it is. Right. It's analytics, whether it's in the corporate world, at your job. Like if you're in a group with people who understand what it is to go through those exact tough times that you're going through, I feel like that makes the biggest difference, and you don't even notice it when you're in it because you guys are just all in it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, next day, another day, and then the day after that, and the day after that, and then you know, it's like pandemic was like 4 years ago. We're still moving forward.
I have this thing that I say, George, is that you don't go through any situation in life without learning something from it. What did you learn from that pandemic?
I think I learned that it's important to be content with like within yourself.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I think that when the world shut down and people couldn't do anything, you had to stay at your house, you had to enjoy time with your loved ones, you had to kind of figure out the new normal. I think that it forced a lot of people to try and figure out themselves even more, understand themselves even more. I think to me, the biggest thing that I took away from that, aside from the people that I was with during the pandemic and growing those relationships, like my host family in North Carolina, that's who I was spending most of the pandemic with, my teammates in the States when I was in college.
Right.
But aside from that, I think, being more in tune and one with yourself, I think is something that I learned.
So you got to know yourself a whole lot more. Did you like yourself?
At times, yes, at times, no. Got to stay honest.
Then I'm gonna unravel the layers one. Okay, so what is it that you found that you needed to work on? The part that you did not like. Okay, that 'cause every athlete has this dark side, but nobody talks about it.
Absolutely.
On social media, everybody is great. They were born great. They never had to build that greatness. That's what the younger guys see. I want to be that guy, but they don't know how much work you had to do to be that guy. I got to see what you had to do to be that guy. So what is it about yourself that you're willing to share, uncomfortable sharing, or uncomfortable to share it anyway, but that it kind of built the diamond from the rough?
Like as an athlete or just as a person?
Behind the athlete is a person. That person is always consistent.
Yeah.
Your career could move,
Yeah.
but the person, if it's solid, nothing breaks you at that point. That's my perspective. But
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I learned, and I'm glad that I learned about myself, is that I learned how to figure things out, like just by myself. And by that I mean, whether it was with sports or just with how I'm feeling about myself, like I learned to kind of take a step back and kind of assess whatever it is I'm going through, whatever it is I'm dealing with at the time, and try and think about things in a more realistic way and in a less emotional way as well. I think to me, that was the biggest thing. I feel like at a young age, I was very emotional.
right.
Right. I think karate helped a lot with that too. Interesting. Handling that anger. And I still am trying to get better with that to this day too. You know what I mean? Whether it's
a work in progress.
exactly, I think it still is, but I think a big leap was done during times where I had to really just stay isolated within myself.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
How did that impact your sport?
A lot.
How you perform?
A lot. And not right away. Like it took, like you said, work in progress. I think that it's gotten a lot better. Like looking back, like I was saying before, like you look back years ago, because it's almost 5 years after us, which is kind of crazy. But I look back and it's like, I'm glad that I had those moments by myself, because I look back and I see the progress that I've made on and off the court. You know what I mean?
Talking about court, finally, let's get in basketball. This is what you do, right?
Yes, sir.
How do you prepare mentally for a game?
Mm-hmm. For a game, it definitely starts with I wouldn't say the day before, but like the days before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially when you're in season, you have one game and you'll probably have a game 2 days later, maybe 3 days later.
Right.
So you kind of have to let whatever happened in that game. Obviously, you still have to go back to the drawing board, watch film, all those kinds of things. But the emotional, whether it's a win or a loss, you kind of have to get rid of that quick. So now once that page is kind of turned and you look towards the next game, for me, it's about like visualization. More times than not, just visualizing, trying to think about what can go wrong, right? Mostly than what can go right. Like I could think about making every shot,
Right.
but I kind of have to, okay, like if this isn't falling, if this isn't working. And to be honest, I think that a lot of that also goes into your relationships with your coaches and putting yourself in the best position to succeed also, I think goes a long way. You know what I mean?
So when you said that you use visualization, what do you visualize? Do you visualize reacting to the challenges that you foresee or the challenges that you are concerned might happen and how you would react to those challenges? You play it over in your head. When I was a young athlete, that's what I used to do. And mine was the night before.
Yeah.
So I would think about situations. There's no point dreaming about what I know I'm great at.
Yeah.
Right? But what if I dropped the ball? What if I played rugby? What if I did this, right? How would I react in that situation? So when it does happen, I'm able to move accordingly in real time.
Yeah.
What was your visualization process for?
Right. So I'll talk more about my recent college basketball days where I kind of played a lot more, things of that nature. I think for me, the biggest thing, aside from, because, you put in the work, you get your shots up, you work out throughout the week. So I could think, like you said, I could think about making baskets all day, but at the end of the day, like I'll take the ones I know I work on and I'm confident that those are going to fall. I'm confident that I put the work in. So for that, obviously getting shots up the day before game day. But for the visualization piece, for me, it's much more how I'm gonna like approach the game. So I kind of think about, okay, how do I want to establish myself like defensively? How do I want to, what mindset do I got to get myself into, like get my teammates going, to talk to my teammates, to be able to pick someone up when they're down. And to that point, that comes with being like locked in myself. If I let things go wrong for me, then I can't be there for my teammate.
You're the source.
Exactly. And, you know, some teams you will be the source. Some teams, when I say the source, like you could be the source and not be the main scorer.
That's right.
You can be the source and be the main scorer. But to me, I kind of separate whatever role I have statistically or whatever the case may be. Like I try to separate that from what I could bring in terms of like my energy, picking up guys, my intensity and things like that.
And you were touching that. I remember when you went through a tough period in your career, right? I remember it very well because I spoke to your mother about it, and you were going through this tough phase. And I hadn't seen you on the scene for a bit. It's almost like you took time off to get yourself together, which that is a whole nother conversation. The fact that you're strong enough to do that, to press pause and go back and rebuild yourself. I love that. But then you showed up. And I remember the first video I saw of you online was you dunking on this guy. And I was trying to figure out when the obituary for that guy was going to take place. It was an aggressive statement.
Yes, sir.
How do you go from being in the bottom of the pit and all of a sudden come out with so much confidence? Like it was that energy. I saw it even from the screen. He jumped out at me. This is real talk. Even from the screen, he jumped. But I know you're a quiet guy. I know you're a humble guy.
Yeah.
But that didn't look so humble.
Like the same way anymore though. You know, like it's time for that energy. You know, it's funny because this summer you're talking about more of like my support system and my circle. Like this summer, a lot of the guys that I played with, in AAU, in the circuits against the big American teams, this and that, like the guys that are, some guys in the league, some guys going pro, some guys still in college, like we're all able to kind of see each other this summer.
That's right.
And kind of have like a reset.
Powwow reset.
You know, and like those guys and being in communication with those guys, like it gives you confidence, you know, like it gives you, okay, yo, like we're still on our path in the video.
Is there some competitiveness within you guys though?
I mean, there always is though. You know, you see guys during the summer at scrimmages, at runs, you know, guys work out together.
Yeah.
Like when we're playing, it's war still, you know, when we're playing, but
so there's still space for positivity within the war.
Always. Especially with your brothers, like war is the only way you get better with your brothers, you know?
In Africa, we say iron sharpens iron, right?
Literally.
Right?
Yep.
Talking about Africa, I want to touch on this.
Absolutely.
Because I know it's important to you. I know it's important to your mother.
Yes.
Right?
Well, for me as well.
Yeah, and for you too, right? You guys are very cultured. You've always been married to your culture. You love it. You embrace it. You exude it when you play it. I see that, so I know you guys. What does that do for you? Like being close to your roots like that. And we don't touch on, in fact, you know what, let's do it now. Where's your family from?
Congo, DRC.
Congo.
Yeah. So my brother, I'm like, up there, that's all the guys. You know, I've brothers, come on. Little back already, man, come on.
Congo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is it about Congo that you love? What do you love?
Just the pride, man. Pride of being from DRC, like all of, whether it's my family, whether it's guys that I've played with a bunch of guys that have the same heritage as me, you know, Congolese guys too, like just that pride, man, the motherland. Especially Congo being in like the dead center of Africa too. It's like, it means a lot.
Wow.
For sure.
Do you only wear it on your shirt or do you wear it in your heart?
Everywhere.
So when you play, you know that.
Gotta rep. Got to.
Wow.
Got to. Yeah.
And that you don't feel, because now you're going pro.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't feel any kind of pressure of, I'm not just playing for myself and my family. I'm representing my country out here. Right? Does that bring any kind of added pressure for you, or is that pressure you welcome?
I welcome it because it just gives me another kind of motivational factor, like that I'm on the right path, that I got to keep going, keep pushing. You know, I kind of try and use all the pressure and the nerves of everything. I always try to put it in a place of positivity, a place of energy, you know?
You know, I can't speak about your roots and your culture without talking about your mother.
Yes,
I think everybody, is your mother running for president or prime minister or Canada at some point?
she should.
I think everybody knows her.
Surely should. Like, for real. Serious.
Everybody knows your mother, and for all the right reasons, but it's very unselfish reasons.
Very.
Like, I see her everywhere doing work, but it's never for you. I've never seen her in public say, hey, I need you to help my son this, my son. It's always
For others.
for everybody else on the platform.
1,000%.
Tell me a little bit about your mom. Let us know your name, the name of your mom and everything.
So my mom name is Ngoe Fabiola Nadine.
That's involved. Yeah.
Exactly. I want to make sure I say, because she says Nadine, but
Yeah.
Ngoe Fabiola Nadine Ngongo, that's her name.
Yeah.
And she is from the DRC as well. And yeah, I mean, she's obviously a big reason as to why I'm able to do the things that I do, whether it's just not even just basketball, but just who I am as a person. She's always allowed a space for me to be who I am and feel loved and just being appreciated, and I don't take it for granted. You know what I'm saying? Because
Absolutely.
it's it doesn't come by like every day, the type of love, unconditional love, like at that level.
Right.
You know, and I don't take it for granted at all. I'm very, very grateful that I have her. And she's very active in every part of my life.
Your relationship with your mother seems more than the typical mother and son relationship. She seems like like a rock
Yeah.
in your life.
Yeah, literally. When people say my rock, like it's truly that.
It's like not even in the overbearing mother of an athlete kind of way.
Not at all.
Like you see, there's a true friendship
Yeah.
there that transcends the maternal motherly love. Like, you know what I mean? So what would you say you learned from your mother that helps you in life?
Just loving unconditionally and just putting your best foot forward, regardless of what people may think, how people will receive it, if you get anything back from it, just always putting your best foot forward. And, the energy that you put in to the world, you're going to get that same energy back. And I'm a big believer in that. And whether it's with my teammates, with anybody, like I always try to, exude that energy that she's giving me, that she keeps giving me to this day, that she always had given me, even being away from home, because that was tough too, leaving mama, I feel
with all that food she'd be cooking for you.
Come on.
I don't know, you'd be crying and trying to get her to FedEx some food over there.
I wouldn't. Hey man, the amount of times I told her, yo, you know what, just freeze it, just put it through, like it'll be fine. But
what's your favorite African dish?
Probably la sauce arachide, pondu, fufu. Those are definitely my top choices. And my friends know too that my mom doesn't play about the food. Like every time my mom cooks, the guys know where to find.
100%.
100%.
You know what? I think it's criminal that you didn't mention plantain.
I mean, that goes without saying, right?
That goes that way, right? That's third one.
Love plantain. Exactly.
I can't live without it. I can't live without it. But I'm glad that your mom is one of your pillars.
Yeah.
But I also know that your father is one of your pillars also. Absolutely. Right? So I want you to touch on that because I've met your dad. I know your dad. I know he's a man of integrity and a hardworking man. So what role does he play in that father figure in your life? Because one thing and I've got to say this, and usually I'll let you speak first, but I'm going to jump in here. I noticed that whenever I'm around your dad, he lets you take the center stage when it comes to anything to do with you.
Absolutely.
Do you want to speak on that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone I've ever played with or like even played against, they know that my dad is like top supporter. Like he's gonna be there. He's taking me to like almost every practice, like every tournament. He's there and he's helping with the coaches if guys need a ride here, if guys need this. Like he's always just been a huge just support. And like you said, like without having to be overbearing, like any of that, just that support from both parents, like, but especially my dad, who was like able to like really be there a lot more because of, just because he's, with the team a lot too. He had relationships with some of the coaches. I saw like he never you know, like he would never try and like coach me or anything like that.
I noticed that.
You know, like I said, he's never been a basketball person, but even with that, sometimes, you know, certain parents could try and be overbearing, you know, try and get too involved, but he's always just given me the space to grow,
Yeah.
but always was there to support. And like I said, every time I see guys that I've played with or that I haven't seen in a long time, they're always asking me, how's your dad?
Yeah.
And that.
But I noticed you always put him in check, though. He comes up with all his stories about he's the most amazing soccer player.
Listen,
But you always put him in.
so we'll say this. I will say, there's a man lives. I'll say this while the camera's on. My dad is probably one of the best soccer players that aren't professional, like men's league, whatever age and
I want to make sure he gets that.
yeah,
Take it back.
I'm not taking it back. I want to put the age number on the division that he plays in, but 50 and up, my dad will give you the work. Okay, he will cook you on that field. I've seen it firsthand.
Hell of an athlete.
Hell of an athlete.
You're right.
Yeah.
You always putting him in check.
Come on, man.
The relationship with you and your father,
Yeah.
It's fantastic, right? How did you forge that relationship in a sports environment? Because for most dads, right, it's not that they want to be overbearing.
They can't help themselves.
They can't help themselves.
It's sports, and it's feel like your kid.
Yeah, when you're on the field,
Yeah.
on the court,
Yeah.
they are on the court. I said to a hockey goalie I said, when you're in the goal and you're moving the stuff the park, if you look up, you see your dad mimicking you. Because he's on the ice,
Yeah.
right? So how were you able to forge a positive relationship in such an emotional space?
Yeah. I think that, I mean, I give the credit more to him than me because I was a kid, you know, like I'm just going out there playing. I don't really know what's going on that much when I'm like 12, 13.
That's right.
You know, so I have to give him most of the credit for that. Just being able to be as involved as he was without, you know, stepping over whatever boundary that is, you know, like just being able to be a support system. And I think the thing that helped the most too was that he wouldn't just support me, you know, like all the guys, he's supporting the guys, he supports all my friends that still play and follows them to this.
Seriously, your mother's,
You know what I'm saying? Like same thing, like both of my parents, they both support anybody who like is really close to me that either I played with.
Yeah.
It's like family almost.
All right, it's a little bit uncomfortable.
Was good.
It's easy to speak about all the great things.
Yeah.
But tell me, did they learn from a mistake? Why are they such great parents? Is it because they messed up as parents and then they decide, okay, you know what, maybe we pushed too far. Let's learn from it. Because there's some parents that are fantastic parents, but there's no book on how to be a personal parent.
I mean, there probably is, but
Hey, in real life, there's no book. There's no rule. So they didn't learn from their mistakes. Is that what it is? Or you just got fortunate in a way where they decide, hey, because if they work well together, they were able to say, all right, we know what, we need to give our boys some space. But you're not the only athlete. Your sister's an athlete. You got a younger sister too. Touch on that real quick.
shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to her. And she's an athlete too, right? She's sitting over there, but we're not going to go over to her. She's trying to hide right now. There's not enough space here for her to hide. But you know what I'm saying, though? But do you feel like they learn on the go, or you just got lucky and had parents that seem to figure it out?
I think that most parents, I mean, listen, obviously I'm not a parent. I don't know. I haven't seen all the parents in the world, but I could imagine that no parenting situation goes like smoothly 100%. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But one thing that I can say is that for my parents, at least, one thing that I know for sure is that they've just always shown me and my sister love, like regardless of what would happen between them.
Yeah.
Like they've just always shown us the most unconditional support, love, not just us, like I said, to all of our people that you know we're with, our friends, you know what I'm saying? So like in terms of how they managed me and my sister, even to this day, like it's just always been just love, you know? And with it between them, behind closed doors, whatever the case may be, like no marriage is perfect.
That's right.
But you know, they were able to make it work for me and my sister. Right. They were able to allow us to do what we want to do, go to the furthest extent of what we could do, whether it's me athletically, whether it's my sister athletically, academically, whatever the case may be. And we're just grateful, you know.
What's your sister's name?
Yenna.
Yenna.
Yes.
Who's the boss in the house? You or Yenna?
Yenna's
When you at home?
Yenna, you when I'm at home. Yenna's.
She moves around like a boss, though. Is that like a sibling?
I think think that it's her personality though. It's who she is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's who she is, who she's always been, and she's very mature.
What? Very.
Very.
And when I speak with her, it's like speaking to an adult. She also has that calm spirit about her. Well, she's a bit spicy too. Right? Like she'll let you have it. Yeah, she's fire. I saw her in football film. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. That's how we rock. Yes, sir.
We got trouble coming. You know what I mean? But that takes me to that whole family situation. So being that you're an athlete that your parents put a lot of time and effort on, right? Does your sister ever feel left out?
I mean,
I know I'm hitting all the sensitive buttons, but I got to do it. The folks out there that want to know it. I know you're my guy, and you're gonna say it like it is.
I would say, answering all honestly, me and my sister never had a direct conversation about that, but I would assume so, especially back then when I was still here, I would say. Still living in Montreal, still playing here. Back then I would see why she could.
I was talking to Cutter Gauthier, the hockey player that is with the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, nah, exactly.
And he said it best. He said, well, if I was her, he said something to the effect, yeah, sure, like I will very traveling to everywhere my brother goes and I go, kind of thing. At what point is he where I want to go? And the fact that you guys can appreciate that and not take it for granted, I think it's huge. You know what I mean? And then support her when she's doing her sport, which I know you do, right? And he does. And I'm sure a lot of athletes find themselves in that situation. I'm sure a lot of parents find it a tough situation to be because they can't be everywhere, right? So if you're the older one, and they will always try to make time. I know a parent as well. Les Mahone is a friend of mine. He's got like 5 kids, or 4 or 5 kids. But I say, geez, out. But somehow, this guy Les Hopper, he manages to be at all these places for all these kids, right? It's incredible. It's impressive. And there's a lot of parents out there, right? But I know it's difficult. So I'm glad that you guys are able to kind of do that, figure out that together as a family, and you appreciate what your sister is doing. So what quote in your life has had an impact on you? That you know it's that quote. Could be a simple quote, but had an impact on you. And why?
So I wrote it down here. Now, I don't know who birthed this quote, and it might be a cheesy answer, but we'll get into it. I wrote, everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason.
You know, and I'm, especially with my my basketball career, I'm a firm believer of that. And I wrote that quote because it doesn't necessarily mean everything positive for negative. It's just everything as a whole. So the negative happens for a reason, the positive happens for a reason. And I think it's just important to learn from whatever situation you're in, not let it affect where you're headed, maybe it's affecting where you are currently, but you could still have an effect on what is to come, right, from how you handle it, you know?
I love that. And that is something that needs to be said. And I'm glad you elaborated on that. Sometimes the most powerful quotes are the simplest words, right?
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. What I love that you mentioned was that not so much just the positive, but also the negative, right? So explain how you've managed to take positive out of negative situations.
Yeah.
And we got to get raw here because it hasn't always been great for you.
Yeah.
You've hit bumps in your life. How were you able to see positivity within that darkness? Because that's a dark space to be in. It's great to talk about it now that you're out of it, but when you're in it, you almost feel like you can't get out of it.
Yeah.
Right? So how did you able to get yourself to stand up where you were on your knees?
Well, for one, I think being honest with the situation, no matter how hard it is, that's the biggest thing. Whether it's something that is controllable, uncontrollable,
right?
I feel like just being honest of what's happening, understanding the factors at play, and being able to accept that at first is big. I think the support system goes a long way too.
Right.
Just being surrounded by the right people, and not people that are just gonna say what you want to hear, and people that can really tell you the truth and tell you what's really happening. And I think most of it all for me was just, like you said, like once we hit a low, like there's gonna be a high somewhere. So no matter how hard it is, try and just take it a day at a time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because what else can you do?
Absolutely.
You know, absolutely. Yeah.
I gotta ask you, life's a journey, right?
Yep.
And while you're doing this journey, someone tells me the older you get, the more you self-reflect. All right. When you're younger, you move with reckless abundance, but as you're getting older, you start to reflect on your actions because you're accountable for your actions. Right?
Yeah.
Is there any situation in your life that you've gone through and said, you know what, I need to take accountability for because that takes me further. So I'm going to rather than passing the blame.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if you're being cut
Yeah.
from a team, right? Instead of blaming, oh, the coaches didn't like me, or this situation didn't just work out in my favor. Everything didn't align in my favor.
Yeah.
Do you at some point stop and say, you know what? I need to go do something about that.
Cool. Yeah. I think because I was, like I said, I was D1 and then I was D2 at Simon Fraser. Then I finished at McGill. I think both times that I left both universities, it was much more of like a situational situation where more like athletically than relationships.
Okay.
And there's definitely gonna have to be ownership at one point where it's like, okay, what did I do that maybe didn't allow me to fit into what's going on here? How do I have to maybe go back to the drawing board? How do I have to look at myself as a player, look at myself as a person to see how I could get better from that? I think both those situations allow me to kind of be where I'm at now, like as a player.
That's what I was going to add.
Exactly.
That accountability
Yeah.
put you where you are right now.
Yeah.
Because you're going up.
Yeah.
Right? I always predicted that you would because you're patient. I'm pushing on it
In due time. Yeah, come on. Due time. In due time, for sure.
because you work for it. Right? You come by nature. This is how you always are. I've never seen you have a character. You always come. But I know how hard you work.
Yes.
When we started this conversation, I said, I want you to know the person behind the athlete. I want to know the person behind the title.
Yeah.
Right? You're not just an athlete.
No.
You're an artist.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
But not an artist that is dabbling. You're like a cold-blooded artist, right?
Come on. Yeah.
As I've heard your work.
Yeah.
I've seen you and heard you cook.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So what is it with you and that? Where did that come from?
The music part of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that. I got on Instagram one day and I said, no, that's not it. You know what I'm saying? So take me into that space a little bit more. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And where are you going with that?
Yeah. So I'm kind of gonna give a little backstory here. So I started I always loved to write. I felt like I've always been a skilled writer.
Right.
My grandmother on my dad's side, she did music as well. So I feel like that influence kind of came there. But both of my parents are very knowledgeable about music. So there's always music playing in the house when I was younger.
Right.
Especially when I was younger, when we had like a bunch of CDs. And, I just started just dabbling with like producing and writing. And at a certain point, I had like my first iPod Touch.
Yeah.
And I was kind of just messing around there. Got a little computer, messing around there. I feel like during the pandemic, I really started teaching myself about, the ins and outs of how to produce at a high level, how to write at a high level. In high school, I took AP language, which helped me a lot, like think about my writing in another way as well.
Interesting.
Shout out Ms. Manskoy. Success. And then during the pandemic, like I said, I really dove into it and was, okay, like if I was to do this, if I really want to do it, like how am I going to really attack it? So currently, I'm working on some projects. Where I'm at right now, creatively too, I'm at a place where I'm done just releasing for it to, for lack of better words, just like die in a month.
Yeah.
Like now it's like the music part that's the easy part now.
Right.
Now it's how am I going to make it count when I release? How am I going to put something behind it? How am I going to get real rolling? So that's where I'm at right now.
You know what bites, when I say bites, like what sticks out from when I listen to your music? It's real talk.
Yeah.
You don't just rap just to rap.
No, it's real talk.
It's real talk. Like I was listening to it and you're telling a story. You're a storyteller, right? But you didn't settle to just be a storyteller. You're grabbing for something. So that you're like an emotional storyteller. Like you take the listener through this package raw. So what inspired that? Like usually you have to go through a hell of pain to be that kind of an artist? Like, how do you take yourself from being a competitive athlete into this space where you're an artist and really dive into that emotional space?
Yeah. I think for me, it's always been, like you said, it's just real talk, you know? I think that you can, I think the best writers are the writers who can say a lot or take something that's simple or take anything and just present it to the listener, to whether it's an artist, like you're listening to music or you're looking at a painting or you're watching a movie. I think the best creatives are the ones who are able to kind of tell their story and map it out in a way that the listener can not only understand what you're saying and seeing where you're coming from, but they could also take something here and there, like, oh, like I relate to this, or oh, I think this is clever, I think this is cool, or
Interesting.
they could kind of take that. And for the most part, like I said, my next releases are going to be probably within 6 months to a year. Because like I said, I'm really focusing on the music business part of it, aside from the music itself.
Yeah.
Because I am confident that right now, currently, the music is good, it's quality, it's standard, and I'm still getting better.
Right.
But I feel like I'm somewhere where I'm very confident.
According to you.
Super confident. Yes.
Comfortable in your space.
But yeah, so going back to what you were saying, like, how can I, create my story and have you listen to it and you being able to, like I said, know exactly what I'm saying, but also what is something that I could write that I know you're going to probably relate to, or I know someone's going to relate to this.
Right.
That's kind of where it's come from.
Right. Are you an artist on the court?
I will believe so.
Yeah.
I think basketball is a form of art too, especially basketball. Out of all the sports, I think basketball is like super competitive, super physical, a super high paced sport, but I feel like it's also like a beautiful sport to watch as well.
So would you say you live your life as an artist or as an athlete? What's your perspective?
My perspective on that, you see, I'm not at the point yet where I feel like I have to choose one or the other.
Huh.
I'm not at a point where I feel like one is impeding the other. I feel like I'm able to.
It never happened.
It never has happened, and I feel like where I'm at right now, I'm able to give everything I have to my training, to getting ready, for when I go overseas, and when I'm not doing anything, instead of, I could be doing anything. Other people have their passions.
That's right.
So mine is just, rooted in the music.
So, like to say, we're getting to the end of the road here to land the plane.
Yeah.
What's your goal? What are you going after? What are you in pursuit of?
That's a deep one.
You are a deep person.
That's a deep one.
So we have to land the plane in the deep zone.
Yeah.
Like, what is your purpose in life?
Mm-hmm.
You're a very complex person, but at the same time, complex and rich in culture.
Yeah.
Rich in character, rich in relationship, right? And all of that put together, where are you going with it?
When you say purpose, I feel like when we think of the word purpose, I'm not sure yet what it is. I feel like I still have to kind of find that out as I'm going, because this chapter I'm about to start right now, it's like a whole new chapter. That's right. It's like, it's something completely new beginning. Like, I don't know where it's gonna go. I'm taking it one day at a time. Same thing with the music.
That takes me to this though.
Yes.
Is happiness a destination for you, or is the journey that brings happiness for
sure, the journey. I'm happy now. I'm very happy.
That's exactly what I would have thought.
Yeah.
By listening to you speak, it's not the same for everyone. For some people, they're not happy until they get what they want.
Yeah.
And it goes to their whole life being unhappy until they get what they want and they realize they want more.
I can't do it.
Right?
I can't do it. I feel like like I was saying at the beginning, the joy, attacking the sport you love, finding that joy again, like just picking up a basketball, just going there and shooting, working out, being in the weight room, playing music in the weight room, like just that joy, the joy of coming up with a new concept for a song or an idea. And I just wanted to say this too, I'm working with a bunch of people too with my music. Shout out to everyone. Developments will be coming soon, but just that joy of, collaborating with creatives, whether it's like video editors or videographers, other artists, like that joy of, finding the idea of sitting 30 minutes and being like, okay, I found it, or being in the gym and just, making shots with like one of your teammates, just getting shots up, playing one-on-one, fighting about it, getting into it one-on-one, and then laughing about it after. Like that's the happiness right now where I'm at. And to me, the goal is just to make the most out of the opportunities, that are given to me, and being able to help others, help my family, inspire others, whether
As we're helping others now.
Yeah.
Within your journey.
Yeah.
I would say that you're helping others when they see how you're overcoming your journeys, how you appreciate it, and living in the present.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because it's easy to only see, Isaiah and I were talking about this earlier, we tend to see what we don't have and forget what we do have in life, right? We always tend to see that. I was giving Isaiah an example. I said, you went through the whole day today without an accident, right? So, but if something little happened right now, you're focused on that.
Yeah.
But you went through the whole day without an accident. You had 1,000 blessings that you're not giving thanks for because you didn't see yourself survive them.
Yeah.
But this one little thing
Exactly.
that got you stuck, now your whole life is miserable because of that. But you survived the whole lot. And you've had so many blessings that you didn't even see because the blessings were so good, right? Well, the same thing for you as you going overseas. That didn't happen by accident. No. You've had a lot of blessings to get you there.
Right.
You've overcome a lot of challenges to get you there. Congo was driving you over, right?
Yeah.
The fufu was getting you the energy to get over there.
Now you did.
So you've had a lot of support, a lot of family, a lot of love.
Yeah.
Right? And what does giving back mean to you?
A lot, man. Whether it's me being able to give back, like directly with like helping the next generation of hoopers that look at like my class and my generation, whether it's, helping, inspiring kids, or just even with my music, if it's someone that hears something that makes them relate to something, inspires them, or takes them back to something, like that's what I'm in it for as well.
What would be an advice you would give a young man or young girl that is passionate about a sport, right? Realistic advice that they can really take and move on with. Like, is it all sunshine and rainbow?
No.
Because you love that sport?
Sadly, no.
Is it because you have a great personality means that you're not going to face any hardship? And what would you say to them? Like, just real talk. It doesn't have to be a perfect quote or anything like that. Just a real conversation. Those kids are watching you right now.
Yeah.
Because I get all these kids. I work with schools, and the kids are, I want to be this. I want to be about, they want to be where you are right now, right? Thousands and millions of kids will love the opportunity that you've worked for.
Yeah.
You dedicated yourself through discipline and consistency. What would be your advice to them, to those kids?
I mean, like you said realistic first. I mean, if I'm talking for those who want to be basketball players, obviously height is a thing.
Yeah.
For sure. That's like it's tough if you're very short, which is okay.
Yeah.
But whether it's basketball, whether it's anything you're doing academically with work, I think the realest thing that I can say is give it your all. And when I say give it your all, like really give it your all. And if you get to wherever you get to and you gave it your all, whether you make it or not, like you'll be fulfilled. Like you'll be highlighted with the end.
I see where you're going with that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So as long as they know, you're really saying 100% has to be 100%.
Yeah.
A lot of people say they give 100%, but they haven't given it their all. And they quit and they haven't given it their all. What you're saying is if they're going after it, it's something they really love, give it your all. At the very least, you will be fulfilled knowing that you gave it your all.
Exactly.
That's a great message.
Because what else can you do after you give it your all, right?
Life is for the living.
For one.
Give it 100%.
For one.
My man.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure having you, man.
Thank you.
I'm honored to have you.
I'm so
wish you the best.
We have to do another one like this, though, man.
I can't. Listen, 10 hours wouldn't even be enough. I've got like 1,000 other quick right through a little mini for rehab figure. So you come back from your brace. I'm sure you come back for some mama's fufu.
This year, I feel like I might not come back because we played 3 days after Christmas.
Wow.
But we're really out soon. We're really outside. Yeah.
Right.
Whenever the time is, time is right.
We have to come back so we can get an update on how things are going.
Yeah.
Because that in and of itself is another story. Because in the journey of being in pursuit of what you want. Getting there is just half the battle.
Half the battle.
Staying there is a whole nother thing. Nobody talks about what athletes go through, the mental health aspect of things that they have to survive, manage, and nurture. So just to maintain their well-being.
Exactly.
In such a competitive environment. Because when you get there, you have to compete.
You got to compete.
To maintain your position while you are there, right?
I mean, I'm very excited, but I know it's about to be a grind, though.
About to get real.
It's about to get real. I'm already knowing that. I'm just excited for that, though. Like, I know there's going to be hurdles. There's going to be a challenge. It's going to be my first year going against guys that, 7, 8 year pros, guys that have experience and all that type of stuff. And I'm ready.
As long as you know one thing, though, every challenge you face is there to build you up. It's not there to break you. That is my one advice for you as you take off to the unknown, to your own words. It's unknown, right? But one thing we do have to know is how you're going to respond to the challenges.
Absolutely.
That's not unknown. That's checkmate. You're going to step up and you're going to face it.
That's right.
Knuckles up, right?
Man.
That's what's up. My man.
Always.
God bless. Thanks for everything.
God bless.
You got it, Roy.